Patrick Riley, always solving problems.
Always solving problems.
Always
And I'm
solving problems,
thinking,
man.
I mean, I'm thinking of like businesses, small businesses. They have a
Yeah.
concept. What would they like to do? How can they tokenize their business? Having a platform, a launch pad like this, um, is an awesome solution, right? Because if they don't know, either they're going to have to hire developers and trust those developers that they don't know, that
Right.
they're not going to be hiding something in the code or whatever, or they're just going to disappear like it happened to Optimistic Prime with her Tomo file, and never to be seen again. These are real world problems when you're dipping your toe into the crypto, but if you can get in on the ground floor of these things, and utilize these tools, man, you'd be ahead of the game with a real world business and being able to tokenize it. And so
Okay.
I'm super excited about that part of it.
I have
And
a question unless Patrick's got something to say.
well,
He
I
does.
do want to say it's actually great you bring that up, because one of my other businesses, which doesn't have a token, is Fortify Homes LLC. But Fortify is going to be using RPR, and basically the RES to show what it can do for a small business. So we actually just purchased a 2025 Chevy Colorado and a 2025 Chevy Trax, which we will be putting on Turo at the airport in
Smart
Austin.
play. Smart
Yep.
play. Smart play. Smart play.
So those vehicles will be renting out kind of as often as possible. And basically what we'll be doing is, once we are 2 months ahead on those payments for those vehicles, they are financed. We're using other people's money here. So I personally guaranteed it, but it's, on the business. And with that money borrowed from the bank, we're going to let other renters pay off those vehicles. But then any money in excess is purchasing RPR. That RPR is going to be held per vehicle against the vehicle, and voting towards it as a debt to pay it off even quicker and snowball it. So there'll be dollar cost averaging in essentially to that product and using that product. And then as that gets down, we can then sell that vehicle, buy new vehicles, bring those in. I'd be aiming for about a fleet of 10 vehicles with Fortify before I would be moving into rental properties or quadruplexes and multifamily housing units. So every time that we're able to pay one of those vehicles off, sell it for cash, buy something new, upgrade to the newer thing that's, again, renting well, we are building equity. And at the same time, that RPR never had to be sold, and it's earning a passive income in XRP. So now,
Listen, man, come on, keep going. Sorry.
yeah. So just to put that in perspective, with the just the two vehicles right now, that's an estimated income of between $800 to $1,000 a month, renting them out on Turo past the payment, and that's going to be dollar cost averaging into RPR. So that amount of income right now is about 20% of the monthly income of the token sales for generating funds. And we're already very close to the floor. So what I'm basically saying is that if just 5 to 10 small businesses or entrepreneurs were doing the same thing, we would be climbing very hard. So whether it happens near term or in the future after we forced it, it's going to happen one way or the other.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that. And awesome Amy said, shout out. She said, wow, breaking news. Yeah, because guys, there's 218 of you watching Dipatoe Show right now. If you don't know, we do bring breaking news often on this show. We've got face reveals of people that have never shown their faces before. We get news of things that people don't know about. And so that is why you should subscribe to the Dipatoe Show on YouTube. It's not Dipatoe.
Well, you go, girl.
But Patrick, I was listening to a space the other day. I don't know who they were. I just kind of dipped my toe in, and they were laughing about tokenizing vehicles and saying like, why would you want to do that? And in my mind went to what you just said, but I didn't raise my hand. I didn't say anything like that. But they were just thinking, their brains were only thinking about their personal car. Why would you want to? And then that means somebody could just come and take your car from you. This is a completely different way of thinking about tokenizing a vehicle.
Well, I mean, I live in Austin, and Austin has just approved robo-taxis. So we already have the Waymo robo-taxis running around, and Elon Musk is going to be rolling out the Cybercab within the year. And, so there's really only two scenarios that come in the future as far as those cybercabs and robo-taxis that will probably kill things like Uber and Lyft because they'll be much more economically affordable. But with those cabs, either Tesla's going to own all of the cybercabs and rent them out themselves, or individuals are going to purchase cybercabs and own them as small businesses and entrepreneurs. And I think Tesla's smart enough to know that that's the bigger play, because then they have less overhead and more upgrades and service things and all of that. So that gives people the ability to tokenize cybercabs, tokenize Waymo, tokenize vehicles in the future. I think that's totally doable. Something else that came to mind, and I think Toasty was the one that brought it up, or maybe Steven, is Fortify could also do Optimus, the humanoid robot in the future, and rent them out as basically maids or as service vehicles to individuals who need a robot for a day.
Well, and here's the thing. Oh, sorry, Simon.
No. Go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, so here's the cool concept of this, guys. When you think about it, like, okay, he's telling his idea, what he's going to do, right? And, in the past, people would be like, they don't want to share their idea because, like, oh, it's my idea, right? But the beauty of this is that if we were all doing this, right? If we were all doing this with vehicles, buying the revival token, that pushes the demand for it even more. It makes it even more of a successful thing than when you have one person doing. If you have 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, businesses all doing the same thing, holy smokes, right? I mean, that's like what you're doing now on steroids. The more you incorporate these things, right? I mean, that's where my mind is going with it.
And that's the entire idea of the concept. It's an egalitarian model. And I know we've hit this place in capitalism where it's about to run off the fiscal cliff. And we all know communism's a failure. And we know basically Keynesian economics and, everything short of Milton Friedman and Ayn Rand has basically failed thus far. But we're still really hitting this wall at the point we're in right now with the modern monetary theory and just printing money out of the Federal Reserve. We do need something as we go to AI and robotics over the next 15, 20 years that will be replacing at least 80% of the workforce. We need something that's reasonable and that people can actually pick up and adopt and still live a high quality life in a future where there's not really going to be the same type of job or work that there has been in the past. The Riley economic system was built on an egalitarian model where someone could theoretically work just a few years out of their life and then retire off that holding, as it would support a certain level of debt and support a certain level of income in XRP. But also everyone that comes in after that is also increasing that value of your current holdings. So what that essentially means is if we look at something like Social Security and welfare, and like you said, I did run for president at one point, right? Social Security and welfare is a $1.2 trillion racket per year. And credit card debt is at about $1 trillion in the United States. So in theory, if you use the RES to replace Social Security and Medicare taxation and the employee matching part, which comes to about 15.3% of everyone's income, And instead that we're purchasing RPR that was then held in a trust against that person's social security number. Now we have a system that people actually have worked in the past. They've done the labor. They've earned a tokenization of that labor. And now that is going to afford them their future based on what they have contributed. So it's egalitarian earned income versus universal basic income. So that's what I'm really building here, is the ability to have an economy and a future that's worth living in for humanity. Whereas right now, I don't see anything else on the horizon that presents opportunity like that.